Hello, everyone, and welcome to our February episode. We have a lot planned. Hope things are going well for you and that you're surviving winter. To start, we're going to be talking about our February Irish Saturday and when that date for that event is going to be. And we're also going to be talking about John Grenham, who's going to be hosting our February webinar. And he's got a lot of ideas for you as well. Now, if you're interested in Irish culture and especially Irish music, we're going to be talking to a gentleman about Irish folk music. It's kind of interesting, so you'll want to stick around for that. So let's get right to it. And our second Irish Saturday for the new year will be held on February 10th. So stop on by the Hoffman Research Library, which is located at the Minnesota Genealogy Center in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. Here's an opportunity to get some of your Irish research questions answered. The Minnesota Genealogy Center is located at 1385 Mendota Heights Road, Suite 100. You can also stop by the library during regular business hours. To find out more about the library and hours of operation, go to the website at mngs.org. And our February monthly webinar will feature John Grenham, another very popular speaker here, and John will be presenting a session called Mapping Ireland's Records. Now that webinar is scheduled for February 24th. John will be talking about ways to visualize Irish locations in your record searching, such as the households of your surnames in Catholic records, or Griffith's valuation, or Irish census records, as well as local records of births or marriage or deaths. Now, how can these records help you with your genealogical and local history research? We'll learn the answer in vivid examples of just how local some names are and how impossibly widespread others can be. The cost is $15 for members with a discount code and $20 for non-members. Well, in the past, we've done some stories on Irish culture. We haven't really mentioned much about Irish music. We had a chance to talk to a gentleman who's a singer-songwriter. He was born in the U.S., but then his family moved to Ireland, where his parents originated from, and that's where he spent his growing up years, and then came back and spent the rest of his years as an adult in the U.S. So his perspective of Irish culture, or at least Irish folk music, is a bit different maybe than what we've seen maybe over in Ireland, but kind of an interesting perspective since he can talk about both sides of the pond.
Oh, I'll be asking around about you and you and you and you. Do your best, do your best, do your best, be kind and true.
Jim Sharkey has been writing and singing songs for many years, and he continues to get out there and perform those songs today. Jim talked about how he looks at Irish cultural music coming from Ireland and America, and how he looks at music today and what inspires him to write Irish culture music.
It depends. We could think of different things when you talk about Irish music. It could be the stuff a lot of people hear on St. Patrick's Day,
Mhm.
and it could be a lot of stuff that would be old Shannon singing. So I just and especially with me now, I just drawing on that really. I'm just on that history of traditional songs, and I'm writing my own stuff. So and a lot of my own stuff, you can tell it's kind of influenced by Irish music, but it's often as much influenced by like Van Morrison or James Taylor or something like that, or John Prine as well. You know.
So you inspired by some of the more modern
Oh
singer
yeah, yeah, yeah,
writers?
yeah, definitely. Because like growing up in Ireland in the '60s and the '70s, there really wasn't a lot of traditional music. I mean, it started to come. The Clancy brothers, I think, really, when they were over here, they were the ones who got it going again. And a lot of the immigrants here started buying their records and stuff like that. But then they kind of back to Ireland, and they took off there as well. I think they really took off here in America first,
Hmm.
and then in Ireland And so then there was a lot of interest, and they were singing the songs and presenting them differently than they had been uh, for years before that.
Hmm.
Before this, it might be like a Shanos singer and singing the song, but they would take those and then add the instrumentation they had, and then eventually, like people like Plank came, Christy Moore, Donal Lunny, Andy Irvine, the Bothy Band, all those started to come, and they really injected youth into the music.
Hmm.
And that's when we started to perk up even more. I remember too hearing those first songs by Christy Moore and Paul Brady, like Arthur McBride, The Lakes of Pontchartrain, things like that. And you thought, oh, that's different, And it was the youth. They were all young, very
Hmm.
talented musicians and excellent people that we as youth would relate to even more. So that's when that started taking off, the late 60s, I'd say. But even then, we listened to probably 60% pop music that was
Hmm.
going on, whatever we could get off the radio, which there was only one channel at that time. You kind of, there were certain programs you could get music off, and the traditional, so maybe 60% of the pop music where we'd get it on Radio Luxembourg or RTE, Irish
Hmm.
radio. And then you'd have the traditional stuff that might have a program or two on with that. And then it would be a lot of like the Irish country
Hmm.
songs, you know?
When you say from Irish folk music, it's songs that are written from the heart. It's something
Yeah.
that affects their lives.
Yes, yes. Definitely so, definitely. And they would have been like a lot of the songs would have been local
Hmm.
to the area. And so that's what I kind of do too. Like now, the songs I write are they're just all about people I met or
Hmm.
that I know or friends or incidents. But I've been looking back on this new album I'm doing, and it's like there's so many are just about people that I met through the years,
Hmm.
you know, and then they really mean something to me, and then I think hopefully that comes across
I was
to
going to
other.
say, do you see that coming across to those who are listening and they get the same impact that you are trying to
They,
project?
they do.
Hmm.
They do. At least, yeah, they do. Um, and I don't know if it's the same, but it does resonate a bit. I have a song like Sweet Anne's Road is about the war in Afghanistan. And I was driving through Floyd, Virginia once, and I saw a road called Sweet Anne's Road, and I thought, what a lovely
Oh.
name for a road.
Hmm.
And this was like in 2015, and I thought, gosh, it'd be a nice name for a song too. So then I started thinking, and I always wanted to do something about, you know, all the sacrifices such a small percentage of the people in the country had gone through and were going through. And so, um, anyway, I wrote that song, Sweet As Road. But it's funny afterwards, I thought, I'll go back and make sure that was called Sweet As Road.
Since my true love Joshua went to fight in Afghanistan, he left me here to mourn and weep, to worry and
And it was
And
all,
it was.
no, it was
Oh,
called
was it?
Sweet Annie's Lane.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to change it now.
Well, we won't say anything. That's.
Yeah, yeah, but I often wondered. I wonder who Sweet Annie really was,
Hmm.
in that area, because it's a local rural area on the way
Right.
from Roanoke to Floyd, Virginia.
So, would you say even that, say, Irish folk music doesn't necessarily have to be something in Ireland? It's just something that
I
affects the person who's writing the music.
That's what I think. That I
Yeah.
like that. That's my take on it. Like I
Hmm.
think I cannot write truthfully about Ireland because I haven't lived there since 1982. Do you know? And as far as more traditional stuff goes, there's people living there who could do it so much better than I can, and it would be more truthful because it would be set in the era, the modern day, or I mean, it could be said way in the past as well. But I really think you have to live in a place to really represent it. So my what I was thinking, like the last album I wrote was more about the Irish experience in the U.S., but not necessarily in those major cities that we associated with Irish people. There's one song about it's the old piano, and that was set in out in the Dust Bowl era, Dust Bowl area, and it was an Irish woman who was a piano teacher, and they were moving to California, and she brought her piano along. So that is. That's that song. Other one is about a young girl who emigrated, like as many young girls did, 14, 15 years old. And she's just kind of lost in where she is. But it's kind of hopeful at the end. Because she had stopped writing home because it wasn't what it was supposed to. It didn't turn out the way it was envisioned, So she had stopped writing letters home. But it ends with her starting to write again. So there's an awful lot of songs like that. Another one about The Champion, it's called, and it's about a young lad growing up in Ireland, coming to the US and coming back with his daughter, who asks for a bedtime story from the granddad, and he tells her about her dad growing up in Ireland. So those songs I really I thought, this is something that I can do. I can talk about the Irish experience here because I have lived it and I'm living it. And I've lived it in areas other than Boston, New York, and Chicago. Had I lived there, I would write about that, but I haven't, and I feel I would. If I wrote something down, I'd say, no, that's not really true, because I don't know,
Right. Yeah.
I
Something
can write.
outside of a large Irish
Mhm.
population.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I can write about something like Sweet Anne's Road, because they could very well, they're rural folks, and they could be Irish. They are of Irish descent. They may not be, but the tune itself, the melody itself you could tell it's really drawn from Irish music.
And if you want to hear more of Jim Sharkey's music, go to his website, jimsharkeymusic.com. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to join us next month. Not only it's St. Patrick's Day next month, but it's also Irish American Heritage Month as well, and we'll be talking about that. Until then, have yourself a great month. Are you a member of the IGSI? You're not? Well, here's all you have to do to sign up. Head to the website at irishgenealogical.org. There you'll find the join link on the left side of the page, and that's where you can sign up and become a member. You can also register for any of the webinars this year on the website as well, and as a member you can also see past webinars from the previous year. And besides enjoying all the members' benefits, you can always sign in and go over many of the programs and services that the IGSI has to offer, and that would include viewing past webinars, surname interests, and the e-newsletter. So sign up now. For more information about the Irish Genealogical Society International, go to the website at irishgenealogical.org. And for questions regarding the podcast, send an email to podcast@irishgenealogical.org. Would you like to help out and volunteer at the IGSI? Go to the volunteer link at irishgenealogical.org.